We've all seen it. Teams making big strategic decisions based on AI-generated guesswork. And I think the problem is getting worse. So that's why I want to talk about it today. I had Gia Laudi on the podcast a while back, and she's worked with over 100 tech companies, conducted over 1,500 customer interviews. So when she made the point that synthetic research is not enough or is utter BS, we should listen. Gia runs Forget the Funnel, and she's helped teams of companies like Bitly, Sprout Social, SparkToro build customer-led growth systems. The first time I heard her was in Eleni's episode, a podcast where she talked about the Airbnb model where they flipped the funnel and thought of the journey. But in the last 2 years, she has ran AI across every part of the research workflow. And her conclusion is AI can assist, but it can't replace foundational customer research. And I think everyone agrees. But here's the kicker. In real life, it is so easy to just skip doing the real work and rely on some synthetic data because it's so easy to get your hands on. But when you skip real conversations, you lose the nuance, you lose the context, and you are risking building on sand.
I see like senior product marketing managers leveraging like ChatGPT to identify like jobs to be done. I'm like, you have customers. There's no reason for you to not reach out to just like 10 or 12 of them.
That's all you need. Research is supposed to reduce uncertainty, not give a false sense of clarity. And I think that is a profound insight. Because when you rely on synthetic research, AI-generated personas, positioning, journeys, you're creating stories that sound right, logical, kind of are okay-ish in the context of your business, but they aren't grounded in real data. And to test it out for yourself, just go to your favorite LLM and type in, hey, can you generate a persona that is, well, let's take a brand that is buying a BMW. How does he show up in the world? What does he need? How do we think about his needs? Or when you think about people wanting to get a mortgage when a couple just got married, are going to buy their first home, what are their needs? What are their jobs to be done? You will get a pretty accurate list that sound real, but they lack any nuance. And this leads to misaligned messaging, product features no one asked for, and wasted time on ideas that don't really reflect customer reality. It's one thing to refine and optimize, but if you're making strategic decisions based on synthetic personas or data, it's a real problem. And the hardest part is it happens everywhere across the enterprise, and we cannot tell the difference between what is based on real data, what is based on synthetic data, what is a combination. And sometimes the researchers, the people that are responsible for the insights, are not even sure anymore. So it's not just a marketing issue. It affects product teams prioritizing wrong features, marketing teams writing copy for personas or jobs to be done that don't convert, CX teams patching over broken promises. Everyone gets misaligned. The customer feels the gap, and trust takes a hit. Gia says, customer research already has a PR problem. Everyone's been in a project that went nowhere, so AI becomes the fallback. It's easy, it's simple, and we can always count on it. So where synthetic research is hiding in plain sight. A couple of examples, and I'll take 6 of them. The first one, AI-generated personas. The most common one I'm seeing. Confident-looking profiles, but they're not really rooted in facts. Like the guy buying a BMW, you can get a pretty accurate persona, a need-based profile on him, what he needs, how he's thinking about the world, and it's going to be pretty accurate. And you think like, yeah, those people exist. But do they really? Like how many? Is it generic? Is it because they are like reflection of our common stereotypical BMW buyer? We don't know. The second thing, positioning from scraped reviews. And this is getting a little bit better because you're actually basing it on what customers are saying. If you go to a review websites like Trustpilot or G2 or Google and you scrape what people are saying, they still miss nuance. The context is just like I'm reviewing. Maybe you were reviewing because you got bumped, you got a discount, or you got something. We don't know. And it's just a review. But if we're basing our entire positioning based on the reviews that people are getting, we're missing all the language that customers are actually using in their day-to-day, in their interactions, when using the product, when buying in. It's a very, very thin set, but it's easy to get. It's easy to scrape. It's publicly available. So if we're doing positioning from scrape reviews, we're not doing a really good job. The third one, jobs to be done prompts from GPT. This is super easy. When you're stuck, when you don't know yet where to start, you go to your favorite LLM. GPT is just the example. You type in, what is the job to be done for people, da, 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 da. Sounds strategic, but it isn't rooting in lived customer experience at all. At best, it's a reflection of what we already know. So the first one, segmentation models without validation. Based on usage data, but not real goals or motivation. We're analyzing the data and we're inferring some logic. And LLMs are really good at that by giving us confident statements about what the data means. But if you only base it on the hard numbers, you really can't tap into why this is happening, why the data is the way it is. So segmentation models without validation are easy to create. We can segment the data, we can give it a name, we can give it a nice story. AI is helping us to do that at lightning pace. But if it's not rooted in goals or motivations from actual people, it's worth nothing. The other thing is auto-synthesis of feedback without representative input. Okay, let me unpack that a little bit. You get really good dashboards, but they're typically built on junk data because if we are only looking at the feedback that's coming in from certain channels, we are missing the context and we're piling everything together as if it's all one and the same thing. So all the feedback channels, all the data that's coming in, and we're synthesizing that back up to general insights. Well, we don't know what the context was. We don't know that we get it from the right customers at the right time. And this is where primary research is often missed out. So when we are not combining that with talking to customers, interviewing them, but also our sales calls, which we are collecting. And if we're only relying on feedback, well, we're just getting one side of the whole spectrum or a side of the whole spectrum. So it builds beautiful dashboards. We can quantify the unstructured data, count everything, but it might still be that there's no real insight in there. And the last one, which I'm most passionate about, and it hurts my eyes when people do this, is they generate a journey from zero, from scratch. It's the worst I see because journeys, they look so real, right? It's hard work to understand what are the phases, what are the steps people go through, what are the goals they are trying to achieve. When does something feel achieved by a customer? What is actually the frustration they're having step by step? What is blocking and what is helping them to complete that? Where are the gain creators? Where are the pains that they are experiencing friction? So outputting that in a journey context, in a journey map, is a wonderful tool to really get and understand what is going on. But it's hard to do, time consuming. So the worst we're doing is just prompt your favorite LLM, generate a journey for problem XYZ in the context of da-da-da, and you will get an output. You will get something that looks professional, that looks real, but it isn't. It is based on thin air. To quote Gia, we're seeing more trees, not less, and teams are struggling to see the forest. So we're making it incredibly hard. And what people are missing, thinking volume is value. But 10 to 12 deep interviews with the right customers about the right part of the experience, about their job to be done in the context of the problem you're trying to solve, will do more than 1,000 AI-generated insights. You need documentary style understanding of what customers are really trying to achieve. And that's where journeys come in, but that's also where they are willing to take a leap of faith. Here's how to make it work. Whatever you do, even if you're using AI synthesis on the feedback that you're getting in, great. Bring in your surveys, bring in your sales calls, but also use human-led interviews for foundational insight that could get you into the right context to understand what's going on. The second thing to do is mapping out the real journey, not generating that BS thing. No, the real journey, synthesizing it from the data collection you've done, from pre-awareness to value realization, whatever that means for your business, for your problem. And then you layer AI on top to synthesize, to generate the real insights, right? To, in that context, understand like what is actually a pain point that I'm seeing in the context of this journey. Not necessarily if I'm counting all the feedback up and I'm seeing a general pain point. No, in the context of a customer trying to achieve this, what is the real friction that they are experiencing? And then enable you to prioritize the opportunities correctly. But never, never, ever skip the conversations. Your research is only as good as the questions you ask and who you ask them to. So the key takeaway, synthetic research can't replace real understanding. And it should be avoided at all times because it can blur the real research that you're doing with synthetic data. And at some point, you don't know really what is fake and what is real. So if you want to make bold decisions, start by talking to your customers. This is obviously something that you are and wanting to do. But by skipping that step, we often get sidetracked by the AI capabilities. The best teams aren't faster because they are skipping the steps. They're faster because they're anchored in reality. So my question for you is, when was the last time did you actually spoke with 10 real customers before a major big decision? Think about it. When was it? And when you are interested in learning more, check out the episode with Gia Laudi. It's a wonderful deep dive to ground growth in real customer insight.